Here we are. What a difference the amplified sound makes. Today we're going to talk a lot about sound. You're here to be professionals. John Wilson has this great story. You've all consumed media. You know what good sound is instinctively, or maybe you just don't even notice, but you notice when sound isn't good. How to use your voice with a microphone is absolutely crucial to your professional development, no matter what you're here to do. We've got one of the top voice talents in North America here, who's probably being driven crazy by the fact that this microphone it's picking up.
Yeah.
It's bad, right? So he would not put up with this. We need to really tone your ear for good sound. And I know teaching journalism, one of the things that we always hear from the journalism kids don't care about levels. They're terrible at levels. We need more of an appreciation for what this thing can do. And our guests today are going to do that. The other important thing to note today is that the future ahead of you, maybe even more so than Mr. O'Neill here, you're going to have a chance to be an entrepreneur. You're going to have a chance to maybe use this microphone and the things that are in your mind to make a living. Maybe it's all the things that our guest Jeff O'Neill does, voicing 6,000 movie tags a year. You've heard him, I know you have. Starts Friday at a theater near you, and you've got to be able to say it with conviction. You might need a commercial, a TV station or radio station needs an imaging voice. Jeff does that. You can see some of his clients. The Fox, ABC, the biggest media corporations in North America is going to talk about it. Anyway, without further ado, welcome back to Fanshawe, Jeff O'Neill.
Thank you very much. We have to turn that one down. There we go. All right, that's better. I was a student here in 1972, so it's kind of fun to come back and see the changes. I mean, literally, we had a teaching room with a console, and then we had a practice room where we would go in and do various things. And then they had to put in another studio when 6X came in, and originally it was broadcast through the college. It wasn't even on the air. So really today, one of the things, and the whole reason why you're here is, how do I get a job? I mean, let's cut to the chase. Your career possibilities in radio right now, you could be an on-air talent, music, news, traffic reporter, entertainment, there's all of that. You could be in production, sales, the traffic department, creative services, music director, news director, program director. If you go into television, you're looking at being a desk editor, a lineup editor, E&G reporting, sound engineering, graphics, social media. What else? You're going to be a segment producer, lighting, set design. All of those things are out there right now. And depending on where the broadcast outlet is, they will need a few or a lot of people. And you know, there's endless possibilities, but it's outside of the traditional broadcast venues that we think of, preparing ourselves to go into a radio or to a television station. A broadcast course can prepare you better in many cases than a four-year university course that is specialized, because you are getting an opportunity in a number of areas. And that's really one of the keys, because broadcasting now, there's a new paradigm, okay? Could any of you have forecasted 10 years ago that we would all be checking Facebook today? Would you have thought that we would be sending tweets or Instagram or any of that? A recent article in Vanity Fair spoke about how much technology has changed in the past 50 years. It's like 200 times more than civilization combined. So if you go back 50 years ago, and that was the traditional part of radio, it was all block programming. You'd have noon to 2, there would be a woman on there that would talk about food and recipes for women, and there'd be a sports show, and then somebody looked at it and said, well, geez, what do we do? Why don't we play records for an hour and just talk in between? And that was the beginning of how we ended up with the media as we now know it. CBC, they're pretty much block programming right now in that same thing. But the new age of media is constantly changing. And that's what you really have in front of you, and the opportunities are absolutely unlimited. The business model now is own the platform, okay? Bell and Rogers are the perfect example. They own the site. The computer, phone, newspaper, sports teams, radio and TV outlets, and also the delivery system, cable, or we're getting it off a dish. This is where people go for information and content. They control it. That's why they got into it. You know, there used to be, 10 years ago, a couple of hundred owners of broadcast outlets across the country. Now we're probably down to a dozen. Some of them aren't even profitable. What the owners of these platforms want is content. That's what they got to get. Content is your opportunity. Years ago, as a broadcaster, you needed a massive infrastructure just to run the place. You had studios, you had transmitters, all of this stuff to be a credible outlet. That's very expensive, and it's one of the reasons that you got to get into about how you can make money with this new paradigm, and how you can make that money is still being sussed out. There's really no roadmap that I could give you right now. There's podcasting, specialty shows, anything people want to watch, hear, or read is wide open for opportunity. On the radio, there are weekend time slots where they can use specialty shows. TV and radio have CanCon requirements that they need filling. So it's a shift to narrowcasting rather than broadcasting, if you look at it that way. You may not even have to go to work for another company. There's a book called The Long Tail. It was done by Wired Magazine's Chris Anderson. And he suggests that niche markets, I'm sorry if I'm not looking up at you right now, I'm going to read some of this, they're going to be the wave of the future. If someone who's graduating from school now is looking to get a job, perhaps look inwards and find the job itself, because that's what it is. Through technology available to us online, today's graduating student can create their own stations, online, radio, and TV. You can do it from your bedroom. You can create compelling content. You can develop raving fans or your own little tribe. You can integrate online with sponsors, communities, and even take it out into the real world and make money from it. So if you look at it too, there's some things that Jim was talking about, being an entrepreneur. In Ontario right now, if you're returning to school, you can get $3,000 in grant money to launch a business in the summer called the Summer Company Program. There are youth entrepreneur programs available that offer teaching, coaching, money. There is the Ontario Self-Employment Benefit Program for those who are on EI, and God knows everybody's been there once. They have a brilliant, viable plan to launch new ventures, and if you go in with an idea, they'll give you money, coaching, and training. There are also a ton of business incubators where the enterprising new young broadcaster can have space to go, get some consulting, mentoring, and access to investment dollars as well. So you've got to look at it now that broadcasting is not just a radio or a TV station or a specialty channel. It's anything you want it to be. Somebody come up with an idea in a university dorm and we have Facebook. You're here because you have decided that broadcasting and communicating to other people, there's something in there, one element of it that appeals to you. One element of all of this is your passion. Maybe you like to produce commercials. Maybe you like being on air. Maybe you want to be a newscaster. Maybe you want to do documentaries. Maybe you want to voice documentaries. There's all kinds of things, but there's a reason why you came into a broadcasting career. And you've got to look at that. You've got to nurture it. And along the line, you've got to have fun, because that's how you're going to get a job. Now, I can tell you that no one who started in broadcasting 5 or 10 years ago was doing what they thought they would be doing. It went somewhere else. Here at school, working as an intern, you practice, you find your passion. There is a simple denominator that brought you here. So let's embrace that, and only you know it. So that's sort of the way I wanted to set it up, that, you know, the whole goal of coming to a community college like Fanshawe or to a university is to get the education, but the rest of it from now on is up to you.